you mentioned these generations. I mean, look, the history of the world is old people dying and young people taking over a society. What is the mentality of the young people? Because it's so common, and I've always rejected this. Of, wow, the next generation sucks. I've always said Moses was probably saying that about the next generation. What is the next generation in America? Are they a bunch of commies? Are they like you? Is it a split?
So I started Young Americans Against Socialism in 2019. And from about 2018, when I saw the Squad first gain power, that's when AOC was elected and democratic socialism was really normalized in the mainstream media, and so on, I became more and more concerned with not only socialism, but with really a growing power for the government and authoritarianism in general. What I look at these days is that our country was built on this foundation of classical liberalism and capitalism. And our generation has no understanding of what those ideas really mean. They look at capitalism as this evil boogeyman, and instead of classical liberalism, they're actually embracing authoritarian, totalitarian concepts for ruling over a society. They believe in controlling others, and usually Americans don't. I would say Democrats and Republicans, we've usually stood together on this foundation of capitalism and classical liberalism. And it's my generation, it's millennials, it's Gen Z, who are looking at it and saying, no, we're going to turn our backs on hundreds and hundreds of years of proof that this is how you actually achieve progress. And so when we consider what classical liberalism is, I can tell you probably nobody my age on the street would be able to define this for you. It's concepts rooted in economic independence and freedom. It's rule of law. It's achieving justice in a society. It's free speech and freedom of expression to be able to disagree with each other. Each and every single one of these concepts is being attacked by the radical left right now. And it's unfortunate because my generation is so ignorant on these issues. They think that they are these social justice warriors achieving freedom, fighting the power, when in reality, everything they've been doing is leading us further and further down that classic road to socialism, as Hayek would put it.
Morgan, why are we surprised by this? I mean, sometimes when I'm looking at our political system now and I'm disgusted with it, as I pretty much always am, I think about, like you mentioned, the authoritarian nature of it. But isn't this the way empires go? They thrive early on and they get wealthy, and then they get fat and bored and lazy and don't appreciate what they have, like we are right now, and they turn into despotic dumps. That's pretty much the history of the world, is it not?
Yes, and I hate to say this, Jesse, I'm not exactly a positive person to bring on shows these days because I'm going to tell it to you straight. There is a checklist throughout history that usually a society has to go through in order to fully become this radical leftist regime that ends up becoming a total destitute place. And unfortunately, America, let's be honest, is about 70% of the way there, I would say. It's not a case of, oh, if we just make a few changes, we're going to save this country and make sure it's never not just a socialist country, but not a communist regime. Instead, we're pretty much 70% of the way there, and it's going to take a lot of fighting, a lot of radical change on our end, a lot of shakeups in our movement to really bring true change here. I'm very concerned about this.
I'm glad you brought this up because I think Republicans in general, and I call out Republicans a lot, I think Republicans in general are under the impression that we just have to win at the midterms and then win in 2024 with candidate X, whoever your candidate has to be. And what I'm trying to explain to them is, yeah, that's fine. That's good for you, good for the country. That's this much, and we have this much to go. That's a tiny step, and I think they're going to think that's a win.
Yeah, and conservatives really need to understand that we have so little. I don't know about you, but since I was 18, I've been door knocking for Republican candidates. I've been a member of my town GOP, my county GOP. I have given money to candidates every 2 years. They rally us. I'm still getting text messages from the RNC. Let's be real here. And at the same time, I'm seeing how we pretty much gave up power of everything. We do not control the education system. We are barely controlling the police system. They're trying to abolish the police and defund them. We see it in cities like Atlanta where people actually roll their windows down in their car at night because it's easier than just having their cars broken into every night, because that's how frequent crime is there. We see that they control things like the FBI and the CIA. They've politicized that. They've politicized our military. They control the media. They control Hollywood and pop culture. And on top of all of this, now the big business titans of the country, who you would assume are capitalists, who you would assume would be on the conservative side, are on the side of the left. And so I always look at this as the weirdest anomaly, that the eat the rich socialist left and the richest of the rich billionaires are actually aligned with their values, and they're fighting against average Americans, people in the middle, conservatives, Republicans, liberals, Democrats, the Main Street Americans that just want to have the American dream. That entire establishment is fighting against that. And I hope we can unite as liberals and conservatives, the core group of what America really means. We can reunite and fight back against this radical establishment that's fighting against us.
Hey, thanks so much for watching The First on YouTube. If you liked what you saw, go ahead and like and subscribe. You heard me. Like it, subscribe. You'll get a lot more of it and a lot more of me. Thanks.